Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and coming up today, Mustafa Ali is back in Retribution form, and on top of that, I've got some news on an NXT wrestler that WWE officials are said to be very high on.
Plus, another Hell in a Cell match has been added to Hell in a Cell, and is Paige starting a union for WWE wrestlers? This is the news.
We're going to kick things off by talking a little bit about last night's Raw. The biggest takeaway from which is that Mustafa Ali is the leader of Retribution. It kind of unfolded throughout the night. So it was supposed to be MVP versus Ali one-on-one. Ali came backstage and said, "Hey MVP, bring your boys, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, because Cedric wasn't there, to ringside, because I'm going to take care of the lot of you," or whatever. And take care of a lot of him he did, because they were getting ready for the singles match. The Hurt Business are obviously like backing Ali off, surrounding him, swarming him 3-on-1. We got the advantage, but no. The shenanigans happened. The lights went woo 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 woo. Retribution came out. All your favorites were there, from T-Bar to Slackjaw with Mace in the middle. All the legends. They looked like maybe they were going to beat everyone up, and Ali was maybe going to side with the Hurt Business, but no. Ali turned. He was controlling traffic. He had them beat up the Hurt Business. Samoa Joe on commentary was like, "I wonder how long they've been working together," and Byron Saxton was like, "It looks like Mustafa Ali is the leader." They posed towards the end. Mustafa Ali did his thing with a hand, follow the light, all of that stuff. So it looks very much like he is the leader of Retribution. A lot of people spoke about potential connections between the SmackDown hacker, which was abandoned several months ago, and Retribution. We've had several questions on this very show about it, and we've always said, nah. But hey, man, maybe they were linked after all.
Do you know what? I kind of like this, I have to say. Like, for those of you saying WWE can't do long-term booking, I'm talking to you, Michael Sidgwick. Look at this! The SmackDown. All right, maybe they kind of just sort of threw all this together. But I'm really glad we didn't release my video on how WWE have completely forgotten the SmackDown hacker storyline. Oh, that was a close one there. Whew! Look, opinion is divided on this. I've seen some people saying online, yep, this is like CM Punk going with the new Nexus. It is not going to work, and, Retribution are already sort of dead in the water. But others I've seen, and I have to say I'm a lot more, like, what I said to Andy this morning before we started recording was, and similar to my tweet of like, wait, are Retribution good now?
No.
Anything was going to be an improvement. Anything was going to be better than what we had before. And I love Mustafa Ali, and I've been, calling for him along with everyone to get a big push a lot. Is this the right push? Only time will tell, and I'm not too confident. But it's something different, and my God, aside from that, this episode of Monday Night Raw was really boring. So I think I was just going to take anything at that point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same boat. Mustafa Ali seems like an earnestly nice guy away from wrestling and so forth. And he's obviously a very talented individual. But personally, I'm not too sure that hitching him to this dead horse is a good idea for him in his career.
I've already seen people linking to, I don't know whether it's a segment on Raw Talk or Talking Smack from months ago, weeks before Retribution debuted, and people saying, look at all the breadcrumbs they were leaving for us. Don't do WWE's week work for them. I think sometimes they just go, oh, that's a nice bit of happenstance, isn't it? But look, I enjoyed the SmackDown hacker, so maybe they'll take some good elements from that and fix whatever bollocks this is. Either way, I'm going to have some fun with Sidgwick on the Raw review today. How much should I go in and pretend like this is the greatest wrestling story ever?
Should
I say this is better than the Dark Order just to really piss him off?
No, you should say it's better than Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. You should say it's better than the NWO. Literally any classic storyline. Just wind them up. It's fun.
WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. We're going to have some fun today. Anyway, let's talk about some of the fallout from Monday Night Raw. It has been confirmed it's going to be Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell, at Hell in a Cell in, like 2.5 weeks. They come around so quickly right now, despite the fact that time doesn't really exist in this ongoing global bastard. Continuing on from last week's storyline, the show opened with Randy Orton talking about wearing his night vision goggles and attacking all those legends. Then Drew came in and attacked him. They brawled. and then there was a challenge that had been laid out already by Orton. McIntyre accepted it is going to be Hell in a Cell. It's the second Hell in a Cell match confirmed for Hell in a Cell after Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. You suspect there's going to be at least one more. They have to have Sasha and Bayley in there. That's the only match that really merits the Hell in a Cell stipulation. But considering how they've escalated this McIntyre-Orton feud, I suppose there's a blow-off for it all. Hell in a Cell, especially considering Orton's track record in there. My mind always goes to him and Hardy in the ear. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of contrivances with the ambulance match the other month, but there's always contrivances with ambulance matches. They're stupid. That match to me almost felt like a natural ending spot because Drew got the victory and we got the nice story with all the crazy old dudes getting their revenge and all that stuff. Ric Flair driving off going, woo, Nino, all of that stuff. I thought it was a neat way to tie it in a little bow, but we're progressing. I guess if you want to try and amplify the heat and so forth, then Hell in a Cell is the natural blow-off point. But I mean, really, Sasha versus Bayley is the one we have to see in Hell in a Cell.
As always with these storylines, I sense that WWE doesn't realise what pay-per-views they have coming up. And they were like, oh, bollocks, we got another month to kill before we can just put them in brand warfare. Should we just do another Orton match? Yeah,
why not? Keep them in the holding pattern, baby. Let's move over to NXT for a little bit. And WWE officials are very high on Damian Priest. This is according to Dave Meltzer on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, talking about how the match with Johnny Gargano at TakeOver 31 this past weekend was designed to set him up for bigger things, set Damian Priest up for bigger things, as the promotion sees a lot of potential in him and believed that Gargano was the right guy to help him level up. Their officials are thought to be particularly enthusiastic about Priest's look, voice, and athleticism, with the promotion reportedly seeing him as a future big-time star. So, Priest, of course, defended the North American Championship against Gargano at TakeOver. That was his second defense. He won it at TakeOver XXX, TakeOver 30, winning that ladder match, and he's defended it against Timothy Thatcher as well. It's easy to see why people would be, fired up for this dude, especially if you're in WWE. He's massive, which is always a big benefit. He's a great athlete, great wrestler. He can talk. He's got a really good sleazy kind of character. I think it works a lot better as a heel, personally. I never, the way they handled the face turn, I don't think having a good match is a particularly compelling reason to turn babyface, which is seemingly what happened with him after the Finn Balor bout, and he was like, I made a moment, I don't care if I lost. That's the kind of stuff that, erodes your suspension of disbelief in pro wrestling storytelling. But Priest is very good, particularly as a heel, and I think they could make a lot of money with the guy later down the road.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Me and Nicholas did the live stream, obviously, for TakeOver on Sunday night, and I thought, it's kind of hard not to, but I thought we had a great match with Johnny Gargano. That insane flip over the top rope to the outside onto the security guards, and I mean, the way Gargano sold that reckoning when he was tangled up in the ropes made him look like $1 million. And especially, I don't know whether it's just because it was the first time I'd seen the new CWC that they've created, the old Performance Center. And that was just, the first entrance I saw was Damian Priest, or whether it's part of Damian Priest's entrance, but it really made you sit up and take notice. Exciting times for him. All that happens next, unfortunately, for Damian Priest is he's going to have to drop that NXT North American Championship to my friend and yours, Ian Carey Grounds, baby, straight to the moon! There
we go. Get it in.
Right, let's finish up with a story that every time I read about it shocks me. Genuinely, I forget how bad it is and then go, God, WWE can be bastards sometimes. The recent developments with WWE's third-party ban, stuff like Twitch, Cameo, etc., the fallout from that is still being felt. And now former Divas champion, former SmackDown GM Paige has been tweeting about, I don't know, maybe making some sort of wrestlers union. She tweeted yesterday, in fact. Learned a lot about unionism today. Zelina Vega replied, with the emoji. And this comes off the back, of course, of WWE saying that wrestlers can't use their wrestler names on Twitch and Cameo and what have you. And then the other announcement, which is just, like I say, jaw-dropping, that they'll be taking control of these Twitch channels, paying a proportion of the work that the wrestlers do to the wrestlers. Everything else goes to WWE. And that money will also be taken as part of their downside guarantee. It's insane that they can do this. And also, of course, if you don't agree to this, you could be suspended, fined, or just straight out fired.
Yeah, this is whack beyond all belief. May have a more in-depth video on this later in the week, so I will save the full breadth of my thoughts on this situation for that. But hey man, like, it's this independent contractor bollocks over and over and over again. Somebody's got to fix it, and this might be a way to do that.
Come on, Andrew Yang, sort it out, mate. Right, okay. Let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from William Woodward, great name, who says, with the setup of Lee versus Strowman, will we ever get two beef boys slapping meat in Hell in a Cell with faces pissing blood, or will we get another Rollins versus Fiend finish in this case? Sorry, Adam, for the triggering flashbacks. What do you reckon? Surely not another Hell in a Cell match.
Nah, like, I don't think this rivalry really warrants Hell in a Cell. I know very few rivalries that get Hell in a Cell actually warrant it these days. It's usually just a convenient thing where it's like, oh crap, that pay-per-view's in October, we might as well make this a Hell in a Cell, regardless of whether or not the feud is heated enough for it. Fortunately, this year we have something like Sasha versus Bayley, which may well end up in that structure. But no, I don't think it warrants it. They had their first interaction last night. You talked about throwing a 3-4 week old feud into a structure that they still try to promote as career threatening and all this stuff. Doesn't really seem to fit for me. Maybe as the product of a longer storyline, that might have worked, but in its current form, I don't think so.
Just have them have a mad brawl if you want a Hell in a Cell. You just don't have to have them have a Hell in a Cell match. But I do want to see all the time big boys slapping meat. Second question today comes from Matt Ryan, aka Aussie
Like
Dead, who says, who will be the next to challenge Io Shirai for the NXT Women's title, and could it be either Toni Storm or Ember Moon after their returns to NXT at TakeOver? Loved Ember Moon's return, mainly because it wasn't Bo Dallas. No offense to Bo Dallas.
Yeah, really good, really well done, and really, easy to feel extremely happy for her after the hell year she's had with the injuries and thinking she might not be able to wrestle again and stuff. Good for her. Really happy for her. She's really talented. And I think she should be the next challenger. I think you should just strike while the iron is hot, man. I know NXT has this habit of just burning through loads and loads of matches on TV and not saving things for TakeOver and so forth, and I would prefer this match to go down on a TakeOver if possible. But look, she's in the buzz right now. She's in the zeitgeist. Everyone's talking about her. Why not?
Here's an idea. Why not build this up? And if you're not going to have a takeover around Survivor Series, if you're not going to have War Games, in the words of William Regal, just put it on Survivor Series. You get a whole load of eyes on it, and Io Shirai versus Ember Moon is guaranteed going to be one of the best matches on that card. Like, just do it then if you're not going to do it at the TakeOver in December, because I do still quite like the booking of Rhea Ripley getting the NXT Women's Championship back in December, a year after she, of course, first won it from Shayna Baszler. Anyway, final question today comes from Jake, who says, if Pac is able to return to AEW before the end of 2020, what storyline do you think he should be thrown into? I'd love for him to immediately challenge for the AEW World title, but he'd be returning with just an average win-loss record. What do you reckon, Andy Murray? Why I?
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of Pac getting into a world title feud because I love Pac. I think he's great. But the problem you mentioned there is 100% valid. I think, I've really enjoyed the Jon Moxley world title reign. I think it's been different to the Chris Jericho one. But one of the problems of it so far has been guys just kind of getting world title shots. Like the Brody Lee one for me was fine because he attacked him. He created his own shot, right? Not everything has to be engineered via the rankings and so forth. But then you get things like the Butcher this past week and stuff, and I get it, he's softening Moxley up and all this stuff, but why do you have to have the belt? I'm kind of getting off topic there a little bit, but I think they need to get back to the days of not just jumping people into the title picture, so I wouldn't necessarily want that for Pac straight away. For me, the most compelling Pac storyline upon returning is something to do with Eddie Kingston, the Lucha Brothers, and the Butcher and the Blade, because obviously Death Triangulo de la Muerte, I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, was just
Murder Tripod.
There we go, Murder Tripod, Triangle Gang. That was just about to kick off before this all kicked in and Pac had to bugger off. So something to do with that. You can do lots of different tension things with him and Eddie, and you can take the Lucha Brothers away from Eddie, and then you can have a trios match with Eddie and the Butcher and the Blade. I think that'd be a nice way to reintroduce Pac to AEW.
Here's an idea. Trick the Blade into thinking that Pac is the Blade's other half, Ali.
What?
There's a story for you. Big brain thinking right here. Let's move on to today's and finally, and the photo that has been just everywhere on Twitter over the last sort of 18 hours, maybe 12 hours. Just a word of advice to everyone. Don't go after MJF on Twitter because you'll get served, as this person did. I thought it was a good idea to tweet to MJF, my bar mitzvah was better than yours. And Maxwell Jacob Freeman, even tweeted, you sure about that? With quite possibly the best photo that has ever been, Andy Murray.
Man, love Matt. Don't mess with MJF is the
What is
moral of
that
the story
pose?
here. Be nice to that man or he will kill you.
He's my best friend, and or one of my best friends. My best friend in AEW, let's just say. There we go.
Mine's Tony Khan. Hey?
Big TK.
Hey?
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. As I said, join myself and the Dudley Boys reviewing Monday Night Raw a little bit later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, where you can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for happy birthday to the living legend, the greatest, most important wrestler in WWE history, the man almost single-handedly responsible from taking the WWF national, global, whatever you want, the man who without him we would not be here doing this today, Manu, and also some guy called Bruno Sammartino. You've got one as well, haven't you?
Well, we would not be alive tomorrow if we didn't say happy birthday to Repo Man on behalf of all of us here at What Culture Wrestling, and of course, in particularly on behalf of our very own Simon Miller, who's got some sort of weird obsession with him. I don't get it. Like, you wouldn't see me doing that with any wrestlers. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter and Will follow us all at What Culture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.